I used to be in love with a neighbor I had. She also studied in the same class as me at school. We were 15 years old at that time. I spent a year rehearsing how to approach her and declare my feelings. But when I finally mustered the courage, I heard that line that many of you must have heard. You're my friend, I don't want to ruin our friendship, that kind of thing. After hearing that, I kind of gave up and stopped fantasizing about things that weren't going to happen. Camilla was a really cool person. To be honest, she turned me down in a polite way, trying not to hurt me. And because of that, we remained classmates, and we talked normally. Camilla was very beautiful, and after a while, I realized that it would never work out. The popular guys at school fought over her, and I didn't stand a chance. Even after she turned me down, I acted normally. We did tests together, schoolwork, and even when she started dating, we continued talking as if nothing had happened. When we finished high school, I went to college. Camilla ended up getting pregnant. She had recently changed boyfriends and got pregnant by this new boyfriend. Because of that, she ended up dropping out of college. She and this boyfriend ended up getting married, but they went to live with her mother. They had a very simple ceremony, and she even invited me. Since she was living with her mother, I kind of followed her daily life. It was inevitable since our houses were right next to each other. She and her husband argued a lot, practically every day. And living at her mother's house wasn't helping. And her husband, from what people said, wasn't very keen on working. And it was quite common to hear Camilla's mother calling him a bum. And as expected, the marriage didn't last long. It ended in less than 2 years. Camilla and her husband ended up separating. She was turning 21, the same age as me. I was going into my 3rd year of college. And whenever I arrived, we would cross paths at the gate and talk for a bit. She was always outside with her son. At that time, we lived in Aracatuba, in the state of Sao Paulo, and it was very hot. It was quite common for people to stay out late, especially on weekends. Sometimes, when I arrived, Camilla would be sitting at the gate with her son sleeping in her lap. I would always spend about 15 or 20 minutes talking to her before going inside. She was still beautiful at that time, she didn't even look like a mother. Her body, her skin, everything was perfect. And again, my nice guy spirit awoke, and I started to try something with her again. And luckily for me, and today I see it as luck, I got turned down by Camilla again. She gave me the same speech she had given me when we were 16. She only changed a few words and added a few things. She said that I was the only man she had a friendship with where they would stop and talk. She said she had a lot of affection for me, that her family adored me, and that if we tried something and it didn't work out, it would ruin our friendship. Once again, I swallowed my tears and moved on. The following year, I graduated. And it was a year of many changes in my life. I ended up losing my father, got a job in another city, and ended up leaving home and living alone. Around the same time, Camilla remarried. This time to a slightly older man with more money. He owned a construction materials depot in a neighboring city. Even though I lived in another city, I visited my mother frequently. At least once a month. But I didn't see Camilla anymore. After she got married, she ended up changing too. And time went by, to be more precise, it had been about 6 years since I had seen Camilla. I only knew that she was still married and that she had 2 more children. Her husband was kind of snobbish, and he very rarely appeared at her mother's house. My mother always commented on this. Until one of my vacations, I went to spend a few days at my mother's house, and Camilla was at her mother's house. She had just separated from her husband. It was a very turbulent separation. People said at the time that she caught him with the nanny who looked after the children. It wasn't long before I heard my name being called, and she started shouting my name, asking me to come to the gate to talk to her. She hugged me, asked how I was, told me a little about her separation, and asked for some advice. She said she was going to receive a good amount of money from the separation and wanted to start a business, open some kind of shop. We talked for a long time, and I realized that she started flirting with me. She was very different now. The smooth skin and beautiful face she had were now full of blemishes, wrinkles, and signs of aging, which is normal. She was also quite overweight. It even disgusted my body. At the time, I was consistent at the gym, practiced jiu-jitsu, and had a well-defined physique. And that's when I realized that our roles were reversed now. If before she thought she didn't match me, now I thought I didn't match her. During our conversation, I gave some subtle and polite hints so that she would realize I wasn't interested in her. We talked about my job, my life in the capital, and I even mentioned a relationship I had just ended. I said that I almost got married, but unfortunately, it didn't work out, and that's why I wanted to stay away from relationships. After I said that, I believed she had gotten the message. But I noticed that her excitement only increased. I ended up making up an excuse, said I needed to take a shower, and went into my mother's house. But after about an hour and a half, my mother came to call me. She said Camilla was at the gate waiting for me. She introduced me to her children, one of them is even named Victor. Same name as me. According to her, she named him in my honor. But I didn't believe her about naming him in my honor. For me, she just wanted to get on my good side. She said she was going to leave them with her mother and asked if I could go with her a couple of blocks up from my mother's house to see a pet shop that was for sale, as she was interested in buying it. I ended up feeling awkward and accepted the invitation. I took my car and drove her to see the business. On the way back, she asked me to stop the car in a small square, a little before my mother's house and her mother's house. She said she needed to talk to me. I stopped the car, already imagining what she wanted, and she started reminiscing about our school days, about when I liked her, and she even said that the way I looked at her, none of the boyfriends and husbands she had ever looked at her that way. She also talked about when she only had her eldest son, how gentle I was with her, wanting to date her and take responsibility for her son. And it was at that moment that she looked fixedly into my eyes and said, "You know, Vitor, I feel that destiny didn't want us to be together in your first attempts to talk to me. But that was good, because today we are more mature people, and I feel that now I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Honestly, what do you feel now, Vitor?" I tried to hold back, but I couldn't. And I replied, "So, Camilla, I'm feeling very offended right now. I take care of myself, I have a peaceful life. And now that you have 3 children, have spent all your beauty, your best years with others, you want to spend the rest of your life with me. Is that it? I'm sorry, but I don't want to be with your leftovers for the rest of my life. I didn't want to tell you this way, but you really offended me, and you deserve to hear these truths." After that, she got out of my car, slammed the door, and never spoke to me again.